people, how's it going? So obviously there's no One Piece chapter this week because it's Golden Week in Japan and that's a holiday for them. So instead I've decided to make this video about the top tier Yonko Commanders that we know of right now so that we could get kind of like a discussion flowing about where people think they're at power-wise and what that means moving on in terms of the story of One Piece. Now, that being said, I will not be talking about Marco, who I know is the first division commander of the Whitebeard Pirates, but unfortunately, Whitebeard is no longer a Yonko, so I've decided not to talk about Marco in this case. However, I will be using Marco's rank to make an observation, one that I'm pretty sure most of you have already done. So essentially, every Yonko that we've known thus far in the series uses a different term for their top tier commanders. In Whitebeard's case, like I just mentioned, he used divisions for his commanders. So Marco was the first division commander, Ace was the second division commander, and Jozu was the third division commander. For Big Mom, she uses the term sweet commanders for her. We know that Big Mom had 4 sweet commanders under her. One of them, Snack, got defeated by Rouge. The second one, Cracker, got defeated by Luffy with help by Nami. Alright, and now there's only 2, Smoothie and Katacuri, who are left standing. Kaido uses the word Calamity for his top tiers. We know there's three Calamities in total, only one of which has been confirmed as of right now in the manga, and that's Jack with a billion berry bounty. And there's a lot of speculation surrounding Drake, whether or not Drake is actually a Calamity or not. But that being said, there's only been one Calamity confirmed, so we're still, we have 2 open slots in Kaido's case. Now in Dressrosa, we actually learned that Blackbeard calls his guys captains of X ship. So for example, it would be captain of first ship, captain of second ship. It just depends on what ship they're on. So that's the way that Blackbeard decided to name his guys. Now as for Shanks, as of right now, I'm pretty sure we don't have an official title in terms of what he calls his guys or his crew, but I'm pretty sure that's something that Oda is saving up so that he can reveal it later on in the story. Now for the purposes of this video, I'm just going to be talking about the top 4 Yonko commanders that we know of right now in the series. And this may change, especially when it comes to Kaido, because Jack would be the top guy that we know of right now. But in my opinion, I think there's still somebody who's above Jack in rank. But because that hasn't been confirmed, for this video, I'm just going to stick to talking about Jack, Katakuri, Ben Beckman, and finally Shiliew. So let's start with Jack first, alright? Like I said, he's the Calamity under Kaido, and his bounty is that of a billion berry. Now, in my opinion, in the One Piece world, if you have a bounty of 1 billion plus, or even 1 billion, that means that you're some type of an anomaly in the One Piece world. And in Jack's case, it happens to be that he's both a Zoan, devil, an ancient Zoan, because he has the Mammoth Devil Fruit, but he's also a fishman, so he's technically one of the few Devil Fruit users in the entire verse that cannot drown. He just goes down to the bottom of the sea, to the ocean floor, and he just stays there. But because he's a fishman, he can breathe underwater, so he's okay. So that's Jack's anomaly. Now, in my opinion, like Jack's biggest asset that we've seen thus far in the series is his insane durability. Durability, I think, closely followed by destructive capability. And by the way, that's something that Zoans are absolutely known for. It's their physical prowess. That's why it was so hard for Luffy to defeat Rob Lucci back in Enies Lobby. We know that Kaido's crew is Zoan based. He has like this fetish for Zoan fruits. And so, yeah, that's basically, I think, Jack's biggest asset. Now, let me tell you what he's done thus far. So he came into Zou looking for Raizo. He got into it with the Ming tribe, all right, specifically Nekomamushi and Inuarashi, all right? They fought this dude for 5 days straight. I mean, and it's not like, I think Oda, for convenience, he didn't want both of them to team up against Jack. So he kind of made that thing about like, oh, Nekomamushi and Inuarashi don't really get along. Because if both of them had teamed up against Jack, I think that would have been good game for Jack. We know these guys, like, they're not weak, all right? In fact, the entire Mink tribe is a warrior tribe. So they were going back and forth. By the 5th day, Jack got pissed. He was just really frustrated. He was being pushed back. We know that much. The Minks were getting the upper hand. But then Jack said, like, fuck this. And he opened up a can of poison, and that's what granted him the upper hand. But it's still pretty impressive to be able to hold your own for 5 days against Nekomamushi and Inuarashi. Granted, both of them were altering back and forth, day and night. But I think it's impressive. After that, all right, when he was torturing the Minks, the news broke that Doflamingo got captured by the Marines. So you know what Jack did? He said, like, fuck it, I gotta go get Dofi back. So he goes on a ship, At the time, Doflamingo was being escorted by 4 Marine battleships, alright, alongside former Fleet Admiral Sengoku, Fujitora, who's an admiral, and Sudu. And Jack still tried to get him back. He still went for it. He's like, screw it, I'm going. You know what he did? He sunk 2 of the 4 battleships, alright, and sustained superficial injuries. The newspaper made some BS up about the fact that he had died fighting them. No, it was all a lie. He was just recouping, he was healing up, and then after that, even though he failed, he decided to go directly back to Zou and started, shooting cannonballs at Tsunisha. He took an elephant, and I mean a massive elephant trunk to the face. Not gonna lie, he got messed up, but then again, who wouldn't get messed up after an attack that size? But then, shortly afterward, we actually see him in the bottom of the ocean, and it just seems like he's chilling there. Just like, hey, come pick me up, I'm ready. So my point is that his recoup time, like the time that he takes to just get back up, is just very, very short. So yeah, his durability is tremendous. And if that's how high his durability is, just imagine how high Kaido's durability must be. Now, when it comes to Katakuri, I've actually seen a lot of people complain about sort of like the character expectations versus what's been actually happening with him, or versus what Oda has been doing with him in the recent chapters. Because, initially he was introduced as this badass, this guy with over a billion berry bounty. I think it's 1,057,000,000. And, the fact that he had trained his observation haki so much that he could see into the future. And so recently, people are saying, like, wait, why couldn't he stop the Luffy clones from coming out of the cake? Why was Sanji able to dodge a shot with his own observation haki? And I think I already covered those issues, those things in my own manga reviews. So I think I've explained that enough. But people are still, like, just ticked off about this. And I will say that, people are also kind of, like, talking about his Logia Devil Fruit ability, like, why is it a Logia? Why is the Mochi Mochi a Logia to begin with? Like, this should be a Paramecia instead of a Logia, because Logia fruits should be about the elements like light, ice, fire, sand, stuff like that. Personally, I just write it off as like Katakuri being special, just like Jack is special. He's a fishman with a devil fruit. I think Katakuri, there's something going on about his devil fruit, or about him in general, that just makes him special. He's an anomaly. And again, I think that in order to have that 1 billion berry bounty, you have to be somewhat strange in that regard. Another thing I've seen is that obviously people have noticed that with the Jinbei attack with the T, a lot of Big Mom's subordinates, including Cracker and Katakuri, can be nerfed by liquid, by water. So Nami better bring her A game in producing those rain clouds if they want to get out of Whole Cake Island. I will admit that I do think that Oda he is kind of gradually nerfing Katakuri, and I think a little bit, maybe he's working to nerf Big Mom a little bit, just because of story purposes. Because listen, there is no point in having this super, ultra, mega powerful opponent that nobody can even touch. Because if that's the case, then how the hell are you going to get, through that obstacle? Like, you have to have some type of a flaw in the system for the story to actually flow. Otherwise, it's over. Because you have these characters that are if you can literally see the future to the maximum extent, like, there'd be no way Luffy could do anything. So I guess we'll see what happens next week with both of them, even though I've tried my best to explain and make sense of it all in my reviews. But as of right now, the things that we do know about Katakuri is that he can embed his Logia Devil Fruit ability with haki strong enough to make Luffy bleed out of the mouth, and then also his future seeing ability is so precise that he can actually see and hear the dialogues that are happening in the future before the people actually say these things. Then we have Shanks' right-hand man, Beckman. And what do we really know about this guy? Well, he's the right-hand man to a Yonko, so we know that he's not a scrub, he's not trash, all right? It would just make no sense for him to be, weak or anything. We know, and this was confirmed by Oda, that he actually has the highest IQ in the entire East Blue. This was actually confirmed by Oda, so he's super freaking intelligent. And last but definitely not least, this is actually, I guess, one of the only feats for Beckman that we have and that we can assess, and that's the Marineford Kizaru scene when he actually checks Kizaru into not moving, not attacking Luffy. Now, this feat is actually one of the most highly debated feats in the entire series, in my opinion, because a lot of people think that Kizaru was just trolling, all right? He was just like pretending to be like super scared of Beckman, when in reality was that, and this is what a lot of people cite as examples. How is it possible that Kizaru was actually fighting, during the war, he was fighting Marco, all right? He was fighting Whitebeard,
And now all of a sudden, like, Ben Beckman shows up and he's totally paralyzed and can't do anything. However, it's important to note that after that scene happens, Beckman actually gets off of the ship to join Shanks, so he doesn't have Kizaru in range anymore, and then Kizaru just goes on to attack Luffy anyway.
Now, me personally, I believe the feat. I believe that Ben was able to check Kizaru the way that he did. But unfortunately, the problem with believing that is that you basically also believe that Shanks' crew is at a whole nother level of power. And so when I first said that I believed that feat, people started calling me a Shanks fanboy. But for this video, the most important question that matters to us in terms of assessing the power levels is, do you think that any of the other Yonko Commanders right now could have checked Kizaru the way that Ben Beckman did? That's the question, really. Now, I'm not saying that you're expecting Jack to pull a gun on Kizaru and check Kizaru that way. No, because all the commanders are different and they have different abilities. But do you think that any of the commanders, as of right now, can find a way of checking Kizaru the way that Ben did? Because at the end of the day, your answer to that question is going to get you closer to an actual scale for these guys.
Last but definitely not least, we have Shiliew, and I'm just going to talk a little bit about what we know about him. So Ivankov in Impel Down actually says that Shiliew was on par with Magellan. So remember, in Impel Down, nobody was able to beat Magellan. Like, Luffy and the rest got the hell out of there because he was so dangerous. You know, that poison was just so lethal. And so Ivankov actually says to Bon Clay, you know, this guy was actually on par with Magellan. In fact, the reason why Impel Down was considered an impenetrable fortress, an impenetrable prison, is because of those two guys. However, all right, Magellan would always get diarrhea. So a lot of the time it was up to Shiryu to be the main guy in charge. However, Shiryu was kind of out of control because he was torturing and slaughtering a lot of the prisoners because he would get joy out of hurting people. And Magellan told him, like, no, you can't do this. So what ended up happening is that they actually, well, I don't know if they fought, which, again, it doesn't make a lot of sense if Ivankov says that they were both equal. But I'm guessing that what happened is that Magellan actually was able to restrain Shiryu. So I'm guessing Shiryu is a little bit under Magellan.
Maybe Magellan was able to get the upper hand because of his poison ability, which kind of makes sense because when Shiryu meets Blackbeard, he actually tells him and his crew, do not underestimate Magellan. That being said, though, anything that puts you at a pre-time skip Magellan level or near it, that means you're pretty freaking strong. Okay, he also has this sword. I'm pretty sure, even though it's not confirmed, I'm pretty sure that sword is one of the 12 rarest swords in the One Piece world. During Marineford, he actually took an attack from Sengoku. Well, technically, all of Blackbeard's crew did. So it was, I guess it was less damage to go around. But still, if you look at that scene, you see Burgess and I think it's Bosco with like the white in their eyes. They're like, ah. And if you look at Shiryu, look at him. I mean, he looks like he's still holding in there. And then afterwards, every single one of the members of Blackbeard's crew gets back up again. I also saw a very good theory a while back about the possibility of Shiryu having Josu's Devil Fruit ability now, because during the Payback War, as we know, the Whitebeard pirates took the L, they lost that fight, and so it would make sense that maybe Shiryu was able to defeat Josu in that fight, and because the Blackbeard pirates are collecting devil fruits, maybe he stole that ability from Josu, and now he has the diamond ability. And this makes sense even more because I think it's pretty much like set in stone that Shiryu will be, if not Zoro's final opponent, he will be one of the final opponents that Zoro has to face in the series. So in Alabasta, it was foreshadowed by Mr. One. Das Bones told Zoro, maybe you should try cutting diamond now. So it would make sense that one of Zoro's final opponents is one that has the ability to use the diamond devil fruit. In this case, it would be Shiryu. So long story short, I definitely think that Shiryu will be the strongest Yonko commander by the end of the series, just from a storytelling perspective, because otherwise there's no tension. As for the others, I already gave you the feats. So please let me know who you think is the strongest right now. Thank you so much for watching. Like the video if you did. I appreciate that. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already for more One Piece reviews. I'll catch you guys later. Bye.